Welcome back to Monetary Therapy. We're on the big episode 10. How does it feel, Elio, the big 1-0?
Like my 10th birthday
Your 10th birthday?
that I can't remember.
Yeah, I was like, do you remember? I can't. I feel like I must have had some Godzilla stuff or something on my 10th birthday.
I could hypnotize myself.
You could hypnotize? What?
Yeah.
How?
I'm hypnotized.
All right, so what'd you do on your 10th birthday?
I have no clue.
Yeah. I guess it didn't work then, did it?
It did not.
Welcome to episode 10 here. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the mistakes people get into during their job search. So you want to maximize your job search. This episode is for you. Take a listen. All right, man. Another episode, another day. It's always still sunny.
Yep.
All right, so I got some stuff for you, man.
Yep.
I've been doing some research in my brain place, supplemented by the interwebs. And I got some things for you today, specifically dealing with jobs and finding them, what to do, and this specifically is what not to do. The 5, in my opinion here, the 5 mistakes a lot of people make when they're searching for jobs, when they're doing a job search.
Only 5, huh?
Only 5.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
There are people only make 5.
Okay, let's see. Those are the most popular, right?
These are the biggest ones that I think people do in general. A lot of stuff. There are little tweaks that can suddenly make your job hunting experience a little bit better. Because I don't know, the last time you went through a job hunt, mine was maybe a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, and it was not a pleasant experience. I know a couple buddies who are just looking too, and it's definitely not fun, especially if you are living with someone and have a spouse who they're going off to work, coming back and seeing you not doing anything.
Especially for guys, man.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I just think as much progress as we've made as a society, there's still a lot of stigmas out there. Like, one of the most stigmatized things is a guy who without a job.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, hey, all you guys out there that are currently job searching, we gonna help you.
We are.
We gonna help.
We're going to hook it up.
Right on. So here's number 1. One of the big mistakes a lot of people make is undervaluing your own worth. So there's a lot of stuff that everyone does. And when it comes to putting things on a resume, when it comes to what you think you can apply for or not apply for, don't undervalue yourself. Take a look at everything you do, everything you have, what someone else finds impressive, someone other than them might not. Look at where you're applying and what you're doing, and don't sell yourself short.
So are you saying that people are applying for jobs that they overqualify for technically, or what are you saying there?
So I think a lot of times people, if they worked at a McDonald's in high school, they put McDonald's 3 years, and that's all they put. They don't talk about that they had 1 employee of the month. They don't talk about that they worked that same job for 3 years and there wasn't any breaks in there and they actually consistently worked there. That's a huge value. Emptiness on a resume. We'll talk a little bit in depth about how to pad your resume and how to build a resume next episode.
Right.
But don't leave those empty blanks in there. And if you're embarrassed of flipping burgers, you were doing it for 3 years. You held a job for 3 years and a job that a lot of people probably wouldn't want. And that's something valuable that people will see and find impressive, as long as you don't have something else that's more impressive to put on there instead. Mm-hmm. So don't undervalue yourself, and especially with what you're also going out and applying for. It can get tedious sending out 30, 40 applications a day when you're out there on the job hunt, but throw out a couple dreams. Even if it looks like you don't quite meet the specifications, if it looks like you aren't quite there as far as what they want, throw it out there anyway. We're going to talk a little bit about getting contacts and building up networks. But if you can throw out there, I actually, at my last job search, threw out a resume to a place that was a training position. I had done teaching and training in the past. And so I was like, okay, training. I might be able to convince someone that I should be hired for that. And I got called by the managing director of the entire company. That came was like, why did you send your resume in? And I'm just like, well, I got.
Well, you got a call, dude.
Yeah, I got a call. So
you talked to somebody.
I got to talk to him, and I ended up getting a job out of it. I didn't get the job I applied for, but you're never gonna hit the home runs if you don't swing for the fences,
right?
And so if you're only applying for what you only think that you are qualified for, you don't go for a couple home runs, you're never going to hit the home run and get the big job.
And how big was it just to have a conversation? Even if you didn't get the job, like you just talked to another human being, that's an opportunity to connect, right?
Absolutely. And now I got his phone number, I got his email, and he ran a firm. And so, whether or not I would annoy him by reaching out at a later point in time, I didn't have to, is up for debate, but there's a chance it wouldn't. There's a chance where I can say, hey, I know you didn't quite like me enough, or you found other qualified applicants that were able to beat me out. But is there anywhere else you think I can go? And don't undervalue yourself. Don't be afraid to swing for the fences, because you're never going to hit that home run unless you swing.
Right. So, but there is a fine line there, isn't there?
Yeah. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You see a CEO position for Coca-Cola open up. Maybe don't send your resume there.
Yeah. You have not made enough political contributions to get that job.
For maybe one more. Maybe just do one more. I think you're there. But.
One more $1,000 a plate fundraiser, and you will be in line for that job.
And it's definitely a thing of putting in a resume, sending in an application takes time. So evaluate what's going on, but just don't sell yourself short. It's a big mistake, because you're going to miss a lot of opportunities if you don't try.
Right.
Cool. Number 2 I got here, one of the big mistakes people make, stopping your job search at your first offer. So you've been looking around for a while. You get a couple interviews. You get that yes. They bring you in for your first day of work. And then what? You just stop looking? You're just done? It's over? Sometimes it takes people 3, 4, 5 months to get back to you when you're sending out applications. Don't stop that job search as soon as you hit that first job, the first offer you got.
But that's tough.
It is tough.
Wow, that is tough. So you've been looking for a couple of weeks, maybe even months. You get a job offer finally. Now, it's not the job that you want in this scenario, right?
Yep.
But it's a job. However, your dream job hasn't called you back yet. What do you do, Travis?
You don't want to stop looking. And so I think there's so many different attributes of a workplace that can be either negative or positive. And our job market currently is such that the hirers have all the power. And so you finally got the offer. You needed money. We're already a little bit late on some of our bills, so you got to take it. But that doesn't mean just because that's the one thing that you had at that time when you were in a bad position means now you're stuck here for a couple years before you finally want to try doing another job search. Keep up that job search while you can. If you need a job, take it. But one of the most powerful things you can do is have multiple job offers. And if you can somehow swing those, even if you like one more than the other, let the one you like know, hey, I got this offer from this company. And you can let them compete on you.
So now the job that you take, though, you really got to put all of your effort into being successful at that job, even though you're still looking.
Absolutely. Yeah, just because you're looking doesn't mean you're not trying at the job you're at now.
Right.
Do a fantastic job, come home, keep sending out a couple resumes. And now it's not quite as dire, so maybe you don't throw out quite those other things that you think you wouldn't really like.
Right.
But once you have a job, once you have an offer, everything is now compared to that offer. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you have no offer, you have no job, there's nothing to compare it to. So any job sounds okay. Mm-hmm. But once you have that job, people go, okay, well, now I'm not jobless, so I'm good. Whereas this is actually when you have all of the bargaining power in as far as relationships go and asking for jobs. If you get 2 salaries, even if you like one job less, is it not really what I love? It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I'm paid a little more. And then you get another offer that is something that you love to do, but you're paid a little less. You can always go to the one you said that you like more. This is my dream job, but it's just not enough to pay the bills. Hey, I got this other offer from this other company. They're offering me this amount. It's more. Can you match that? I'd love to work for you guys. You're great companies. This is one of my dream jobs, but it's just not enough, and I have this other opportunity that I like more. They could come back and say, nope, sorry, I can't do it. But they could also come back and say, okay, cool. We like you enough. We'll match it.
Right. So you have the ability to negotiate at that point. Whereas if you only have one offer on the table, it's really, really hard to negotiate.
Absolutely. If you only have one offer and you got bills to pay, you got to take it. Mm-hmm. So don't stop your job search. Keep chugging, because and you're especially to the point now in our society where employer and employee loyalty is gone. We talked a little bit in the last episode about pensions. It used to be that the longer you work with a company, the more they're going to take care of you in retirement when you can't work any longer. Now pensions are disappearing. We have things called 401ks now that we can move company to company to company at will as we switch jobs. Employee loyalty is gone, and that's okay. And you need to realize that employers know that. Employers know that they don't need to be loyal to you anymore, which means you need to go ahead and take your due and get it. Flex your muscles when you can. I don't have to be loyal to you because you're not giving me incentives anymore to be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. I think, it's wise if you do get a job offer in this market, since it's so competitive, to take it. But like you said, continue working on your resume, continue making contacts out there in the industry, keep your eye on the job board, but don't be so focused on this dream job that might be out there that you get distracted and you don't really take full advantage of the opportunity that's right in front of you.
Absolutely. I had a buddy of mine that was working for a bigger bank, and he was real great. His boss loved him, but there are other guys and girls on the team that had more experience than him, even though they weren't doing as good of a job. So the boss knew that. He liked this guy. He wanted this guy to stay around, my buddy, but he couldn't socially give him the promotion he wanted to give him. Yeah. So he told this guy, my buddy, that, hey, you got to go do something else for a while. He didn't promise him anything at any point in time, but said, like, you got to go do something else. You got to move on and try something new. He did. He went out, spent a year for a consulting firm, did some stuff, and then year goes by. He goes and says, hey, I've been doing some other stuff for a while. I don't really like it. You have anything for me? The guy's like, hell yeah, I do. Here's a vice president position in our company.
What?
Yeah. And so now, because he had been somewhere else, the boss could go, well, he's been with another company. He went off and did some other stuff. We value those sorts of skills and techniques that he learned there. So now we get to give him the raise that socially I wasn't allowed to a year ago.
I see.
But by jumping around, don't actually jump if you're in a good place where you like it. But don't feel like because you are somewhere that you can't move on to other opportunities.
Which is why, I mean, building relationships, that says more. I think you don't get to a relationship like that with an employer or with your boss if you haven't really taken the time to develop a good relationship with them where they will be that candid with you. I think a lot of bosses would just drag you along. Oh, dude, just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to get that promotion one day. I think that was very, very admirable that his boss really, they had the kind of relationship where he could be that candid and give him real advice.
Absolutely. And I don't think you're going to get that everywhere. He definitely got lucky in that place, but that doesn't mean that that's not a true or a thing that is applicable no matter where you are. Like I worked at in high school, and I basically had the boss that was kind of like, you're better than everyone here, but here are the rules that it has. I can't do anything, but just keep trying. I keep working hard. And so I did for 4 years.
We're going to bleep out the name of that company just said, because we might want them as a sponsor one day.
Well, I think it's whatever. You're probably right.
I'm kidding, dude.
It's a grocery store. So, but we kind of were leading in the next thing of building those contacts. A lot of people make the mistake of underutilizing your contacts in your network. So many jobs now are hiring based off of, I know a guy who knows a guy, I know a guy. Talk to people around you. Big question, if you don't have a job and you just can't find one, no one's giving you a call back, the people that are calling you back are scams or seem fishy. Look around, think about everyone you know. Which one of them has a job? I'd imagine it's most of them,
Hopefully.
And they all have contacts with people. They're working with people. Ask them, hey, have you heard anything? Hey, can you talk to your manager? Here's my resume. Can you show them my resume? Talk to your friends where they're having a good time at their jobs, and talk to them and say, hey, can you pass on my resume to your boss? Talk to people at your church on rec sports leagues and clubs you're involved in. If someone can say, hey, I know this guy, I know this girl, take a look at this resume, you better believe someone's going to look at it.
But you kind of have had to have been nice to those people.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk to people that hate us.
Yeah, don't wait until you get fired and then all of a sudden, like, hey, what's your name again?
Yeah, what's your name again?
Do you have a job at your Like, don't do it that way.
And that's why we start with family and friends, right? The people that hopefully care about us and we didn't mess up any relationships with.
Be nice to people while you're balling.
So much of resumes now are just quick glances, toss in one pile or the other. And then maybe if you got tossed in the good pile, someone will look at it a little more in depth. But if you can then have an instant good pile recommendation just because it's coming from someone that knows you or that already has an in with someone that where you want to work, it helps leagues. It helps tremendously. We have so many people on this planet now that when it's all pieces of paper, they get lost in the void. But relationships are what really matter. I've been here next to you through experiences, so I'm going to value that person much more than a piece of paper that comes in on the internet.
Right. And be really good at your job.
That helps too.
I mean, that really helps because, people who are excellent at their job actually get job offers. That is actually a thing.
Headhunting is a thing that happens.
Where somebody randomly calls you on the phone or sends you a thing on LinkedIn that says, hey, I heard that you were excellent at your job. I was trying to recruit somebody else for this position. They didn't want to leave their current employer, but recommended you as somebody to take a look at. Are you available? Now, that doesn't. Now, I'm going to say something here. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not.
Shoot.
If you're not getting job offers on a weekly basis, chances are you are not good as you can be at your job. Kind of joking, but kind of not.
How many job offers you gotten this week, Elio?
1 million.
1 million. Anything you actually want to do?
No.
No. And those hey, my mom makes $100 an hour on this website. You can too. That doesn't count, does it?
No,
okay.
no.
Because I could say 1 million too if those count.
No, we're not counting those, and 1 million is an exaggeration. Probably this week I didn't get any, but I get some every once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, people call me and see if I'm interested in stuff, but that is definitely a measurable thing, because if you are excellent at your job, it shouldn't be a secret. I don't mean boast about it. But you should definitely use the tools that are out there, LinkedIn in particular for job searchers, to tell people about what you do, the awards that you've received, where you stand in your industry, give your opinion, connect with the movers and shakers, and you'll find that even while you're not looking, opportunities will come your way.
Humans are emotional people. We make decisions and choices and rule our lives by the emotions we're feeling. Throwing out an email, throwing out a piece of paper is not going to elicit an emotional response. Use your contacts, use your network, use people that actually have felt an emotion in response to you to then say, hey, I need your help. Can I get a job or can I get an interview? That's all I want is an interview. Is there anything you have in your company that you're hiring for that I might be able to at least come in and interview for?
Volunteer. Don't do everything because of what you think it might do for you. You don't know. The most successful people in this world are very, very philanthropic, very charitable. You could go to a soup kitchen and meet your next boss. These people are out there really impacting the world, not because they're going to make money doing it, but I mean, you just never know when where your next connection is going to come from. So don't ignore charitable giving back, particularly if you're not currently working and you're actively searching. I mean, you can spend a significant amount of time just applying for jobs, or you can volunteer to coach a rec league. You don't know whose kids you're coaching. Who's to say, hey, this new coach that's coaching the rec league seems really passionate about kids, and you shake the mom or dad's hand and you get to chatting with them and you don't know what they do. So don't spend your whole time, particularly if you've been looking for a long time, just looking for a job.
And it can be depressing.
Yeah.
And especially when you get so many no responses or non-responses when you are sending out those email resumes. Try to fight the urge to go to the video games or to go to the movies or the books. Go out, do something with people, and then be open about the fact, I'm currently job searching. One of the best and the easiest ways to have someone ask you what you do for a living is to ask them what they do for a living.
Right.
Hey, Elio, what do you do for a living?
I host a podcast.
The normal social response after he says this is going to be, responding with,
and what do you do?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Elio. Thanks so much. I'm actually between jobs. I'm looking around, trying to figure out what I want to do for real. If you hear anything, I'd be glad to take any sort of suggestions you got.
Definitely. I know a guy who's looking for a guy.
Shebang. Might not be the job, but at least I got some sort of interview. I got some sort of contact.
One more person to talk to.
One more person knows, oh, this guy's looking for a job, and he also teaches some mean rec football for my kids. What were we talking about? Volleyball? What was the sport?
I don't know.
Baseball, I think.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
For you, it'd be rugby, though.
For me, it'd be rugby. I'm a rugger at heart. All right, number 4. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, one of the big mistakes people make is limiting your job search to only positions you would love. If you grew up, especially in the 80s and 90s, you heard you can do anything.
You're special.
Your entire life. You are special. Just find out what your passion is. The truth of the matter, we went through a massive recession quickly after that. Tons of graduates are now graduating with the same degrees and the same qualifications. The truth of the matter is you might not be able to do your passion as your main monetary income. We have things called side hustles now. Read an article recently about everyone's got their side hustle for mostly our generation, people that grew up between the 70s and the 2000s. You're doing something in order to pay rent and to survive. You're doing something else on the side that is actually your passion that potentially could make you money one day once you've been doing graphic design and web design long enough and you can kind of build up a client base. But for the time now isn't really doing anything. So don't limit your job search to only things you would love. Sometimes you got to just have something that pays the bills so you can do what you love on the side and grow in that, where eventually down the road, hopefully we can start getting paid for what we do love.
I agree with that, man. And I think that's kind of the new thing nowadays. It's there's not going to be any one career, let alone one job, that you're going to have that's going to be able to fully utilize all of your skills, passions, desires for impact. There's no one job that's going to have all of those things. So you have to get comfortable with the fact that each and every job that you really take, or each and every project, or even if you start a business, there's going to come a point where you're going to want to do something else, right? Even if it's in the same field, you're going to want to branch out. You want to grow. We're all human beings, and we want to continue developing. And so having an attitude going into any position of, hey, I might be doing this, but I like to blog, so I'm going to be writing a blog while I'm doing it. Not necessarily for money, but just to develop the skill of writing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the new wave. Everybody's going to have what they do primarily for money, and also maybe something that they do on the side because it, ignites some kind of passion. So, I agree with that.
The truth of the matter, especially in our current society, someone just started a lawnmower or something out there.
Yep.
Damn. The truth of the matter, especially
probably on his side hustle right now.
Side hustle, mowing the lawn. I just love cutting grass.
Yeah, it is Sunday.
The truth of the matter in our current society is, no matter what your first grade teacher told you, there's a high chance you cannot do whatever you want to do as a career. And depending on the various different backgrounds we all have and where we were growing up, there's actually a lot of things we won't ever be able to do without trying really hard and getting lucky. Always want to push for that and hope to get lucky and give it an effort. Like we talked about before, we're not going to hit a home run unless we swing for the fences. But don't limit your search to only those positions. Be realistic. What can actually pay the rent? What can hold you off? Well, then you can do your true passion on the side.
Well, I mean, not only it's unlikely that a kid in first grade today really is unable to do what they think they desire to do. I'm not just talking about that philosophically. I'm talking literally the job that they might have to do doesn't even exist yet. Right? So firefighter, policeman, ballet dancer, football player, they exist.
Yeah.
But what if in 30 years there's robot football?
They need someone to control those computers.
Exactly. So who's going to control the... So literally, the paradigm is shifting so quickly that what you might desire today may not be what you desire in 20 years. All of this stuff is temporal. It's changing so quickly. So this idea of find your passion, listen, my passion might not even exist yet.
And I might need to find my passion 16 times throughout my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You ready for number 5?
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
ready.
the big 5. Is the big one. Well, not the big, but it's the last one. So this is all we got after this. I got nothing else. So if we still have time, we need to fill. I don't know if we can do it.
Let's do it.
Last one, the big 5 mistakes, goes right along with that one we were just talking about. So we shouldn't limit our search only to positions we love, but also we shouldn't limit our search only by the money or the monetary compensation that we're getting from the job. Don't pick a job just because it gives you the salary that you always dreamed of.
I think a lot of people take jobs that they don't really want because of the money. I think if a lot of people were really honest with themselves, they'd be doing something completely different if money was not an issue.
And here's where we get into some psychology of happiness and things like that. Yeah, we shouldn't pick a job just because we love it. But I remember when I was going through my job search, I was about a week away from just go ahead and put an application at Chipotle. Because I was looking throughout that 3 months I didn't have a job. And I was like, what do I love more than anything right now that's just a normal thing? And it was burritos at Chipotle. I just love them. And so I was like, hey, I'm not going to make a whole lot of money, but Chipotle does have, it's a decent company. They trade on the open markets. They have a really good in-house management hiring structure. And if I could go be around what I love, which is burritos and that chicken, then hey, I would have a fine time doing that as long as I'm keeping up my job search elsewhere.
And there is a tremendous amount of upward mobility in a company like that for somebody who loves burritos. It's not like you could look at it as, oh, it's just a fast food restaurant. However, right? That is probably one of the fastest growing fast food franchises. I'm sure they're super profitable. I don't even have to look at the numbers, but the business model is so simple, right? Business model is so simple.
You like burritos?
I love burritos.
We got burritos.
I love Chipotle burritos.
That's a business model.
Because you can eat 1,800 calories at Chipotle and still feel good about it.
Yep.
Right? Now, who pulls that off? Right? The business model is so simple that I couldn't even get somebody in fitness to say something bad about Chipotle right now. Right? They would recommend Chipotle 1,800 calorie burrito over most other choices. Mm-hmm. Right? That is an amazing feat where you can have fast food and not think you're having fast food.
And this is the thing, kind of harken back to the very beginning to loop this around. You have all the power if you have the job.
Yep.
If you're sitting there waiting for the golden opportunity to come around, you're going to end up having to resort to whatever offer you're given. And it's so much easier to take something that doesn't pay maybe what you want it to pay, but you know that you'll be okay there for a while. And so if it's Chipotle, if it's working on cars, if it's changing oil, if it's just being a teller at a bank, whatever it is, take some job that you know that you'll have an okay time doing, and you know you can find the good in it, and then continue your job search. We have things specifically I wrote down here, be professional. We have things like the 2 weeks notice and things like that. But keep in mind that employee loyalty is tanking. It's not a thing that our society really values much anymore. So if you get a job, you've been there 3 weeks, and now you got another offer somewhere else, almost everyone there that just hired you is not going to put too much of a bad name on you for that. And so feel free and comfortable to continue your job search while you're making the money you're making. Yeah. Just be professional about it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that's a tough conversation, particularly if you just accepted a job offer to go in the office of the person who just went probably out on a limb and hired you. I think if you go in there and you explain the circumstances around it, maybe you get a counter. Who knows?
Yeah, hey, I've really enjoyed my 3 weeks here so far. It's been really great. I actually did just hear back from someone else. I got another offer, and they're paying me a little less, but it's something that is a lot more closer to what my passions are in life. I love the people I met here so far over these 3 weeks. I love working with you, but I think I need to go do that unless I can get a higher compensation here. Yeah. And they're either going to come back with no or yes.
Right.
They're either going to give you more money, in which case, okay, I can put up with this because I get a higher paycheck that I can then do more fun passion things on the side, or they'll say no, and then you go do your passion thing.
Right.
But if you don't have the one job and then have the offer from the second, you've got no leverage. So don't stop your job search just because you got one offer. This has been Travis. This has been Monetary Therapy. My name is Travis, and this is
Elio.
Peace.
Peace out.
That is our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Monetary Therapy. I'm Travis Kendall.
And I'm Elio Harmon.
Join us next week for the big episode 11, where we're going to talk about padding that resume.
And moonwalking.